What is up, my guys and gals? Today is another episode of Hobbies. Thank you for joining me. Today, I want to introduce myself to one of my favorite hobbies that I've been really looking forward to doing, and that's cross-stitching. However, for one reason or another, cross-stitching and other handicrafts don't seem all that manly. Ever wonder why that is? Well, before I get started, how about we talk about the relationship between gender and hobbies? It's no shock to say that at least the idea of gendered hobbies has existed for a long time, but it must have come from somewhere, right? Well, in order to answer that question, we have to look back at the rise of industrial society. Upon industrialism, there was a rise of people that were suddenly allowed to spend their free time in whatever fashion they selected, so long as their non-work activities reinforced their competence as credible consumers and reliable workers. In other words, both men and women were restricted from doing anything they wanted to in their free time. They needed activities that fit societal expectations. For men, there was at first a focus more so on leisure and relaxation rather than actively doing things. In the Victorian era, men would actually avoid doing the manual activities that we think of as hobbies. They mainly went on vacation. What we see as masculinized pastimes of using tools around the house only grew until the huge do-it-yourself boom in the 1950s. However, it's important to note that this divide between work and non-work really only existed for men. As men were encouraged to find non-work activities that reinforced the value of work, such as using tools, women were, quote, sheltered from the rough and tumble of the economic world except as consumers, so that for them, hobbies did not replicate workplace values, but provided a socially approved way to practice those ideals modified in gender-appropriate ways. For men, the office or the factory was where you work, and the home was where you don't work. However, women weren't given that divide just as easily. They had to find different ways to have outlets that we would now call as hobbies, as long as they were being economically conscious. So, what did women do with that free time? According to historian Stephen Gelber, as the new leisure class of industrial society, middle-class women first laid claim to crafting in the 19th century when they began to transform sewing from a duty into a pastime and took up light handicrafting as a way to productively pass the time. Handicrafts were seen as economically useful both inside the house, such as making clothes for babies, as outside the house, where women would often sell at bazaars. In some ways, you can think of knitting as one of the very first hobbies directed toward women. This was, and to a degree is, the reality of our hobbies today. As sociologist Rojek notes, your capacity to dispose of non-work time is economically conditioned and culturally coded. It reflects distinctions of class, gender, ethnicity, education, and bodily health. So, can people participate in handicrafts without it being a gender thing? Well, absolutely. I think it's safe to say that nowadays, that divide is not nearly as obvious. In fact, we are going through a modern revolution of how we recontextualize gendered hobbies, including and especially craftswork. In 2009, researcher Myzelev released the article, Whip Your Hobby into Shape, Knitting, Feminism, and Construction of Gender. Quick sidebar, this piece comes with some pretty hilarious knitting guides that really show how gender and hobbies are being recontextualized. Not tonight, darling, I'm knitting. Knitting with balls, a hands-on guide to knitting for the modern man. Men who knit and the dogs who love them. These are some great ways in which people nowadays have addressed knitting and crafts as a way to escape from stereotypes. Now, this piece notes repeatedly the struggle of women who knit, wrestling their positions in society as either feminists or homemakers. For some women, taking knitting as a way in which women have become domestic goddesses, wherein the knitting is the resignification, not as domestic laborers, but as pleasing and caring for the self, allowing women to carve out time and space for themselves despite proximity of caring responsibilities. Women have also used crafts as a way to reclaim their sex lives, inviting female readers to think of knitting as a gender-conscious, tactile, fantasy-ridden, escapist fantasy. While there has certainly been strides in crossing gender boundaries in most knitting books, Myzelev notes that there isn't a great representation for non-traditional sexualities. As she notes, while much knitting literature empowers women to be independent and embrace their interests, the same activity obliterates gay men and further problematizes the notion of gay and lesbian liberation. While this may be true in the knitosphere, there has been absolutely huge strides for queer people in craftsmaking through quilting, as far back as the 80s. In 1987, through the collaboration of activists worldwide, the AIDS Memorial Quilt was first made in San Francisco and revealed in Washington, D.C. With each panel, this quilt memorialized the thousands of lives lost to the AIDS epidemic. Since then, the National AIDS Memorial has expanded the project to now, where there are more than 1,000 displays of quilts across the United States, dedicated to more than 110,000 individuals. From just this one example, we can see that there has been, and there will continue to be, a huge movement with queer people in handicraft. Of course, it's important to note that we should be able to do whatever fucking hobby we want, gender be damned. However, it's important to note that the resources should still be out there for people to do the hobbies that they want to do. In order to encourage a hobby, society must reinforce it. So that's what I want to do today. Gender norms be damned, let's do some cross-stitching. Now, a few years ago, cross-stitching was one of my briefest yet most passionate stints of love. I took up cross-stitching, a specific type of knitting that involves creating art through needle and thread. Look, I'll be honest, I'm a fucking nerd, and I love pixel art. That's what draws me to cross-stitching in particular, is the fact that those little boxes are basically the same thing as pixels. While society might not see this as too productive, I find it productive for me. I like putting shit on my walls, and I'm gonna keep putting shit on my walls. However, my time with cross-stitching was very brief. Only a couple months after picking up my first thread, I just put it down and never picked it up again. There was one piece I never finished, my greatest white whale. This cute ass link cross stitch. I just didn't pick up cross stitching after a while, and then tragedy struck. You see, I have a cat. Despite being a cute little kitty cat, this bastard peed on all of my shit.
Bastard. Bastard. Stress me. Bastard.
Okay. I'm talking my thread, I'm talking my needles, and I'm talking about a high majority of the pieces that I had throughout my time. Out of all the hobbies I've wanted to do for this project, this has been the one that I've been wanting to reclaim the most. So come with me while I try to continue working on my little link guy.
Alright boys, welcome to my unboxing video. This is what we'll be unboxing today. This got sent to me, no, I'm just kidding. This is my old knitting collection. This is everything that I have left over from when I was in my knitting career. And so I just want to show it off for you guys and see what we have to work with and see what we need to keep working on that little guy. First thing here, this is a package I think I ordered a while ago. I think this was like one of my attempts to restart my knitting career that I didn't really get into. Yep. Luckily we do have some stuff to work with from what I remember. However, I am noticing that we are missing a few colors here from for what we might need for my project here. But now I don't have to buy stuff to get what I need. Okay, let's put that off to the side. What else do we have here? This is a COVID test. Let's see. First bag. Okay, I still have my little needles from when I first started. That's nice. Glad to see it. Glad to see it. More stuff we don't need to buy. This is a perler bead thing that I did. Forgot that I did that. Okay, so this was like my very first thing that I did. You can see I fucking love pixel art. I think this is like the very first thing that I did myself. Is this little Charmander little guy, and then I did a Squirtle little guy. Maybe it'd be fun to do like a Bulbasaur at some point. I think that would be super cute too. But this is my white whale. Here we are. So as you can see, I'll make sure to put a reference photo. This is a big project that I've been trying to complete. And it looks like I got like 60% of the way through it. Something like that. Like I'm missing some stuff in the middle here, and there's some of the grass I need to do. But the head was basically done, which is really nice. And yeah, it's not exactly the most consistent thing in the world, but glad to see that. And luckily I already have a rim for it, so I wouldn't need to buy that either. Awesome. So I'm doing some quick color matching. It looks like they really don't have what I need in here. And I want to make sure the colors match as best as I can. So I am going to have to go to the store to buy what colors I need. Luckily I do have my own camera woman to help me with just that. I'll see you there.
We're gonna go get some smoothies and go to Hobby Lobby. Let's go. Fuck.
Alright, now it's not that.
I'm filming.
You're filming? Okay, take two.
Copyright for your channel on YouTube. Yeah, you download it. What? This is fine, yeah. Shut the fuck up. I've already again. Can I hold your card? No.
Whoa, how did we get here?
Safety first.
Safety first? Am I right? Okay, let's get out of here. Oh no, should I just like talk or shit? Like, we're off to unnamed smoothie place and unnamed craft store that shall not be named. The biggest roadblock to our fucking day. Tuscaloosa traffic. And there's our boy, right in the distance.
Unnamed smoothie.
We made it. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. Did you get that?
Yes.
Oh, McFarlane, I'm taking a right. Oopsie.
Never mind.
Okay, this is fine. This is fine. Alright, here we go. Gotta do some cross stitching. Alright. Damn it, I missed. Alright. Looks like I got the colors I need. They matched up as best as I could find them. And so, yeah. Now I have everything that I need to keep working on this, and I think I'm just gonna go ahead and put on some music. Gotta make sure to find a reference photo, and you'll just see me do a little cross stitching. Alright, got my reference photo. Got some upbeat Hatsune Miku playing. I'm fucking trying it out. And we'll just we'll try and get started from what I remember. Motherfucker, I can't even get that thing on the thing! Ah! Okay. Took me 4 minutes to get this knot. Let's go. Let's go. Okay. If you look right in that end right here, that little light green spot, it's my first stitch in 2 years, something like that. The color is slightly different from what you see up top, but honestly, I'm not that upset about it. I kind of came to the realization that I kind of like the idea of it, you know, ending up being a different color, because it just shows how long it takes, and you know, the whole kind of shows the journey in general. And so I really don't mind it. So yeah, now I gotta do that row at the bottom there. I'm definitely out of practice. I'm going a lot slower than I used to, but hopefully that's something that I'll get better with as I continue. Luckily, it was like riding a bike like I expected. It hasn't been too bad so far. I might just make this like a live stream or something. How fucking funny would that be? Boys, comment and like if you're interested in a live stream of me doing this. Okay, looks like we got a whole row done. Look at us. Couple of cards. Yeah, if you guys at home are interested in doing stuff like this, it is relatively straightforward. you know, all you really need is some materials and then maybe some reference photos, and then, you know, you can do whatever pixel art you want. Alright, got a little extra patch of green right there. Love to see it, love to see it. Okay, looks like we got that little bit of the shoulder done too. I'm glad to see it. Unfortunately, we are getting a little low on threads, so it looks like I'm gonna have to go ahead and tie this off, and I'll have to continue this another time. But yeah.
That was tough, but that was really fun. I'm probably not going to end up finishing my link cross stitch for this video, but I have started. Not only that, I'll make sure to give you guys an update once it's finally done. But for now, thank you very much for joining me, and I hope you learned a lot about cross stitching and gender. Thank you for watching. Feel free to leave a comment down below if you have anything you want to say and if you want to continue the conversation. Thank you. Have a nice hobby. I'll work on that.